Hey you peeps. This is an update video for you all, just to mainly explain what's going on with Amelia at this point in time, because we haven't been over to her. We've been concentrating on Leon, who has replaced her, the Knight Enchanter, replacing the Templar, who has of course joined the Grey Wardens, and successfully did the joining, and has been being prepared for things. So, a quick update. Where's the group at this point, of course? Because in our current timeline, we are upon, the part of Dragon Age Origins. We are upon the Blight. Where are they? Where are they? Well, do you know what? All of this time is passing, and the group are not to be found. They seem to not even exist within space or time. You could attempt some sort of divination spell or something, and it wouldn't be able to find anyone. It would behave as if you're making someone up who doesn't really exist. Crazy. Now, it could be, because remember, Nimdeirana sent them to this place and said, because of the fates, because of the way the story is unfolded, because you're not going to be the heroes now that you needed to be, because the pages have fallen out of the book. The best we can do now is to limit the damage and send them in here to limit the damage. And of course, this damage was partly created by them. The reason they had to go into this place in which they haven't re-emerged. But, they're not dead. Well, one of them is, but hey. That's just Pete. That doesn't count. Maybe that serves a further purpose. Maybe Nimdeirana saw it as like, yeah, do you know what? They're probably going to end up lost out of space and time, and during the point of the ascension of the hero Ferelden, that's probably a good thing that should happen, or else they'll probably trip all over that and do something wrong to change the fate of that. So it's probably for their own good, basically. They've probably been saved from their own cack-handedness by being removed from reality momentarily. So, but anyway, over to, what's happening with Amelia. I know some of you out there are Amelia fans, and you want to know what's the latest with her. How's her story panning out? Because, while the group are carrying on, she is still doing things. She's a very strong character. So, the first thing was that Daemus Archon appeared to Amelia and Karak and Tanador, as we know. And we know that Karak and Tanador said no, but we didn't really get to know too much about what Amelia did. And so Amelia said no. And, Daemus was all like, well, okay, I respect you. You've caused me all this trouble, so that's great. But when the time comes, I won't let you go into the Fade. I'll pluck you away, and then, I'll have my fun with you then, because I'm ever living, and you're not. So I can wait even, or I might do something in the meantime. As long as I know your answer. That's all that matters, really. I wanted to see who the person was that's been messing with me this whole time. And that's kind of the reaction he gave to the others as well. So, Amelia now as a Grey Warden. In the months before the coming of the Blight, she did a bit of training. She went off with Ban Nicola. They were heading for Freeport. And then Amelia, and by the way, Amelia hasn't been sleeping well. She's been having these really weird and bad dreams. So, has something happened to her? Maybe her encounter within Firetop Mountain has left some lasting impression on her. And basically her conscience was very heavy as well. And while Ban Nicola said, look, leave with me, we've divined that that Denerim's going to fall using blood magic. Come with me to Freeport. We'll get away from this. She has felt bad. And it's a combination of the fact that the Darkspawn are about to come upon the land and she's going to walk away from her duty, a dereliction of that. But also, she's been having dreams of Carrack and Tanador. And the dreams go that Carrack destroys Tanador and destroys all of his friends. And she needs to try to stop him from making this grave mistake and killing all the people that are supposed to and did matter to him, and she believes, still would matter to him. So she feels like, I've got to get on hand and see if I can stop it. This war between my two old travelling friends, I'm the only other piece of this puzzle that can come in and do something about it. So yeah, her conscience played on her, and she felt she had to go do that. So she makes her apologies to Lady Baranti and runs, basically, and leaves Lady Baranti to potentially get on the ship, or potentially not. Who knows what Nicola does at that point. So Amelia decides to head for the Frostback Mountains to see Carrack and Tanador first, and then to move from there over into Ferelden if need be, and try to push the Blight back. But this is where it starts to get crazy, because on her way over to the mountains, who should she run into? She sees a Templar army coming, the first scouting parts of it, a force, I should say, basically. But at the very head of it is a Seeker, a certain Seeker, and Amelia and that Seeker begin talking, discussing matters, and Amelia rides on ahead, and the Seeker decides to join her. So the Seeker rides on ahead as well, leaves the Chantry behind to come up slowly as part of their investigative force, and the Seeker decides to get on hand to make investigations early into what's happening. And of course, a bit of an interrogation of Amelia is potentially quite helpful as well, realising who Amelia is suddenly, and realising what connections Amelia has to the other two parties that she's walking into a civil war of. And Amelia talks a bit about that as well, and they head into the mountains together. Now, at this point, they bump into other Grey Wardens in the mountains. Orlesian Grey Wardens. Now, these Orlesian Grey Wardens were effectively summoned by Tanador on the promise that, look, we need to try to get through to Carrack, and you need to speak to him anyway. Do you remember that? The war here between the Avar states, the Redhold Consortium versus the Southern Coalition. So, with that situation, the Wardens said, we won't get involved in a war, but we will try to break through to get at Carrack if the opportunity arises, because we want to question him. And so Amelia joins up with the other Grey Wardens within the mountains, within the Frostback Mountains, and they're just on hand. And then they're waiting for their time to strike, and they see that it's not yet. But they are also in place because the Blight is coming. So they've got the call that, all hands to Ostagar, and they attempt to go over to Ferelden, and Amelia is brought with them out of duty. They say, well, look, this is our first duty. Okay? This is more important than a rogue warden. We have to attend to this right now, the Blight. So they come out of the mountains and try to cross into the Ferelden border, And who's there waiting for them to stop them? Well, it's an army of Loghain that's on hand to say, your wardens don't like you. Worse still, your Orlesian Grey Wardens, except Amelia, who's with them as well. But, no special privileges for her. It's, all wardens, stop, you're not entering for Alden. They're saying, but we're needed as summons to Ostagar, and, you don't know best for Ostagar. You can't be trusted. You're Orlesian wardens. If you step over this line, our men will cut you down. So the borders are being very specifically guarded. Maybe on the, maybe, under the guise of being defenders on hand, ready to stop the blight or whatever in whatever position. But in reality, there to stop any Orlesian Grey Wardens from coming to the rescue, effectively. And we know what's about to happen at Ostagar. So, other pieces of the puzzle. So Amelia is then left there with the Orlesian Wardens, stuck in the mountains. They can't attend to this. So all they can do is just wait. But they still have a feeling that the blight's going to reach them in the mountains. So the most they can do at that point is to wait on hand for the reason they came there in the first place, to deal with Karak, of course, and also be on site to try to defend the Frostback Mountains from the Darkspawn when it comes. So there's like a dual thing there. And as Inquisition as does point out, I haven't played it yet, but as it points out, that it's canonically relevant that the Blight did affect the Frostback Mountains as well. So, Amelia's stuck on hand, waiting with the Orlesian Wardens. What's going to happen next? And that's kind of where she stays and ends up when Ostagar happens. Well, there it is. That's the current update on Amelia. And just as, events of Origins are panning out, the current group are nowhere to be found. And what they are going to do now they are in this place of somewhere else, they're going to quantum leap, perhaps, into bodies of coming-of-age teens and try to survive the fantasy age beginner adventure. But quantum leap sort of thing, help them get through it. That's kind of the coming thing. And then even when they quantum leap back out of this, quite what's going to happen next? Will it mean they can come home? Or are they going to be sent somewhere even crazier? Probably the second one, to be honest with you. And then even if they ever do eventually get home, what year would it be? How would space and time have moved in whatever reality they're trapped in at the moment compared to, normal time on Thedas? Will they come through, pop out at the end of, the Inquisition period? Who knows? Will we ever hear from them again? Who knows? So, we'll have to keep them peeled. But for now, I'll see you at the table.